was an active duty astronaut, I was more worried about what was going to happen in the next 2 days. I mean, sometimes it was what was going to happen in the next 15 minutes, but mostly I pushed my horizon way out, perhaps to 2 days. Didn't have a concept of the entire procedure, the national effort. I was very busy with my day-to-day tasks trying to get a spacecraft down the production line and pass all its hurdles, have it come through. I'm a little off, but I think there were 1 or 2 of them that I wanted to forget. No. It was an amazing trip. Wherever we went, I thought people would say, well, you Americans finally did it good. And instead of that, everywhere, people said, we did it. We humans, humanity, finally left this little dinky planet and set foot elsewhere. And I had the feeling that was genuine. It wasn't a contrived response on their part. You could see sort of an upwelling, and the more they thought about it, the more they got into it. Neil Armstrong was our spokesperson, and he was amazingly good at that job. Of course, the man, the Generalissimo, I think he was called, Marshal Tito, ran Yugoslavia with, if not an iron hand, close to it. And he hosted a formal dinner for us one night, and his wife was, in her own way, well known, Madame Bose. And as the small talk got smaller and smaller, things kind of slowed down, and I could see Madame Rose totally frozen. She had picked out a speck maybe on the Pitcairn Islands, and she was looking at it with all the intensity of, well, I'm not quite sure of what, but of one of those monoliths that look out to sea that they keep on the South Sea Islands. She was doing a good duplication, and so things were not well at this formal dinner. And about that time, I saw Neil get up out of his chair, and he went over and bent over and started chatting with her, just about the distance from here to there. And all of a sudden, she brightened up, big smile, and Marshal Tito noticed, and that changed the entire complexion. From then on, we were all big buddies. Next day, I cornered Neil. I said, "Geez, Neil, that was kind of odd. What the heck were you doing talking to her about? I heard you were talking about electricity and the invention of the bulb." And he came right back and said, yes, well, her ancestor was one of the first Nikolai, what?
Tesla.
Tesla, yes. Oh, the reason I've erased Tesla from my memory is Tesla's too much today. Anyway, Neil says, oh, Nikolai Tesla, well, yes, she's related to him, but that was nothing that had been in our briefing, something that Neil had produced on his own, was very well received, and that was the way it was all the way around the world. He was okay. I was, yeah, all right. Neil was really, really good. As I say, Neil was very intelligent. He had the ability to see a situation, to understand not the American point of view, but the Guatemalan point of view, let's say, for example. And he'd done his homework, and he was our spokesperson, and he would make a short speech and just have the locals saying, as we found everywhere, we did it. We humans finally left this planet, not you Americans did it.
And what is the significance of that sense of we, or that sense around the world that it was something that humankind did in terms of U.S. foreign relations or the relationship between the United States and the world?
Well, I think the United States has to be a power in the world but a very friendly power, and not an overbearing power, and not a power that tries to be dominant. I thought that's State Department talk. So where was I about and the various aspects of that? I think when I saw the United States flag, the American flag, planted on the moon by Neil and Buzz, I was thrilled and I'm very proud to be a citizen of the United States of America. And I continue to be very proud to be a citizen of the USA. On the other hand, that trip around the world kind of opened my vista a little bit. Yes, I wouldn't flunk the US for any other place, but I think when we're in the business of foreign policy, the technology that goes into a foreign policy, the use of that technology, how it manifests itself, and how we treat other countries, I think it's important that we try not to be, I don't mind being the leader, but not the dominant leader, and I think we ought to go bend over backwards to have a unified, worldwide approach to the things that we are trying to do in space. It may slow us down a little bit in some cases, but I'm not sure speed is the paramount goal. I think getting the job done, getting it done by all inhabitants or all able inhabitants of the globe is more important. To move on, when I was offered this other job to be director of the National Air and Space Museum, and part of the Smithsonian, another important factor was that growing up here as a kid, I love the Smithsonian. I used to spend hours watching nothing. I mean, watching seashells, big ones, slightly smaller ones, smaller baby seashells, maybe like 46 seashells. And I would stand there as a 10-year-old and be mesmerized by how do they look so all the same? No, they're all different and so forth. You know, that took me away. So I left state and joined the Smithsonian, and I stayed at the Smithsonian for longer than I worked for NASA, about 6 years. At the our mantra at NASA when I was there was a man on the moon by the end of the decade, and then I had a similar mantra at the State Department. It was museum on the moon by the bicentennial. And so that was our deadline, and lo and behold, we opened on July, not 4th, but July 1st of our 200th year. So I enjoyed that time as well.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I left state and joined the Smithsonian, and I stayed at the Smithsonian for longer than I worked for NASA, about 6 years. At the our mantra at NASA when I was there was a man on the moon by the end of the decade, and then I had a similar mantra at the State Department. It was museum on the moon by the bicentennial. And so that was our deadline, and lo and behold, we opened on July, not 4th, but July 1st of our 200th year. So I enjoyed that time as well.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Don't have access to the internet and make it possible for them to be able to come into a place like Addis Ababa in Ethiopia where it's packed. Because they now can join the rest of the nations of the world by using capabilities that are there in the American corner. So I would love to see us emulate that here in the United States, where we go into some areas that are less fortunate than others and may not have access to the and I know people say, but everywhere in the world has an internet. That's not true, not even here in the US. so we can do a much better job of getting our kids in less developed parts of the world, of the country, informed and engaged and inspired to do the kind of stuff to be a Buzz Aldrin or a Mike Collins or a Neil Armstrong or an Ellen Stofan.
Well, I would just add, I traveled a lot around the world when I was at NASA, and what really struck me is inspiring kids in countries around the world to go into STEM fields is going to help those countries in the long run. It's going to help them build their economies. It's going to help them be more resilient to climate change. And stronger countries around the world make it easier for the United States. And so, to me, it's a win-win.
Mike, if you look back at Apollo 11 in 50 years, what do you think was the biggest international legacy of the mission? Well, I would guess that it's somewhere in the world of vision. And I usually say that you want to get away from Earth some distance. I don't know, the moon is, I think, 236,000 miles away. I don't think you have to get, maybe 100,000, that'd be all right. Is that okay? And if you could get the political leaders of the world out at that distance and let them look back at their home, well, hell, they can't even find their country. There's no borders. So if they have a border dispute, well, you have to do something else about it. I mean, you can't fight about it. And the idea of this tiny little fragile again thing, I'm hoping they're going to look at the world in my window and find that it's fragile. When you get these guys talking to each other, I think you're going to come out with some very surprising conclusions about antipathies, particularly as manifested by borders and individual countries. I think those individual countries will become less important in the totality of all, however many of them there are, 139 or something. And that's what I hope is the legacy of Apollo, is a view from afar.
That they saw it back then.
Yeah, if Bill Landers, he took the photo and said, we came all the way to the moon to discover the Earth. I was in Capcom for Apollo 8, and of course then flew on 11, and I can recall this was the first flight to exceed escape velocity. This was the first time humans were actually leaving their planet and going elsewhere. Apollo 8, in my mind, was of extraordinary importance. It was about leaving. Now, Apollo 11 was about arriving. Okay, 100 years from now, you put these historians like John would have a symposium, a 9-day symposium, to figure out whether which of those two is more important. The older I get, the more I get tilted toward Apollo 8 rather than Apollo 11. I think the concept of outward bound, I think was Alfred Lord Tennyson, in poems, he worked that phrase in, and that's always rung a bell to me, outward bound. And Apollo 8 was the epitome of that, past escape velocity, off you go. So I agree with what you're saying about 8.
I'm just going to close with an advertisement because that was so beautiful. For probably some in this audience who were too young to be around for Apollo, we are trying to recreate it for you on the National Mall. So if you haven't had a chance yet, please come out after 9:30 tonight through Saturday night and take a look at the Saturn V rocket on the Washington Monument. It is beautiful. It is awe-inspiring. I cried when I first saw it.
But you cried.
I cried.
We got 2 criers.
2 criers.
Okay, great. Let me release the panel.
Yes, we have a special guest, a surprise guest for all of you. And
So, let's
We should go.
I'll let John know. Okay.